Dating. It's a tricky world out there for anyone who wants to date someone these days. Unless a guy is extremely good looking and is financially well off, drives a nice car, has a perfect personality, and checks all the boxes that modern women have for an ideal man, he's not even going to be able to go on a date with a woman. He needs to have the right sort of smile, the jawline, the height, the skin tone, the accent, the personality where he's manly when she wants him to be, and feminine when she wants him to be. And listen to this, he needs to figure this out all on his own. He needs to have some sort of powers that one of those mutants in the X-Men had and be able to read a woman's mind to find out exactly what she wants. Only then can a guy be truly successful when it comes to dating women. And what do guys want? A nice-looking woman who isn't really ugly, knows how to take care of herself, is understanding, friendly, pleasant to be around, and someone who can be his center of peace, which means when he's home, or whenever they're together, she doesn't dump her entire world and emotional train wreck on him every day and whine about everything in her life, and somehow make him think it's all his fault, and that since he's the boyfriend or husband, that's perhaps his duty to be the receiver of her emotional vomit and her inability to take regular stress that literally every other human on Earth takes. So it's really something when women blame men for a dating crisis. Guys don't want to be in relationships where the standards of women are so high that maybe 1 in a million will be able to match it. And when that 1 in a million guy does come up, he's also aware of his demand in women and doesn't stick around with one for long term. So the cycle continues. Women keep looking for the perfect man and ditch the good men who are successful, good looking, but not models, but still better than average, come from decent backgrounds, are educated, have good personalities, and are building their businesses and jumping the corporate rungs. When these guys are ignored, and women go for that 1 in a million guy, it hits their egos after being ignored time and time again. And they swear they're never even going to get back into dating because dating is not their cup of cake anymore. Dating is essentially a phase of a romantic relationship where two people participate in an activity together to assess each other's suitability. It belongs to the group of courtship activities that the couple engages in together, such as social gatherings. How does that translate into use in the actual world then? As many of you know, arranged weddings are typical in Bangladesh, Pakistan, and India. That said, love marriages, or the notion that individuals should genuinely meet and determine their compatibility, is growing in popularity. Most people will tell you that dating is terrible, and science supports this. It was horrible 10 years ago. Currently, 47% of Americans believe it to be worse than 10 years ago. In fact, 65% of men claim that dating is more difficult since the Me Too movement. And the women weren't far behind. 43% of those polls said that it had become more difficult. So, why is dating dying? Specifically, what's making it disappear? Now, the idea of dating is a fairly new construct even in the Western world. The term dates back to a Chicago Record editorial from 1896. George Ade, a columnist, wrote about the working class and their daily existence. And he was discussing a man by the name of Artie and his romantic affairs. When he confronted his girlfriend about her apparent lack of interest in him, she reportedly responded, "I suppose the other boys are filling in all my date." Although it took a few decades for the phrase to become widely accepted, women were out on their own socializing with males, and these men would often treat them to gifts or alcoholic beverages. And the authorities saw them as pros because of this. They essentially see this as the same as trickery. Girls who went on dates like this in 1910 were referred to as charity girls, since they didn't charge for their services. They were only there to enjoy themselves. In fact, accounts from the 1920s claim that women who actually sold themselves complained about these charity girls, saying that they were driving them out of business. The growth of the shop girl. A single woman working in a department store who resided in a larger city and lived alone can be seen in the 1920s and 1930s. Additionally, She was free to choose among the men who were entering her store to make purchases and courting or asking her out. Yes, she was sort of establishing her own schedule. Although dating and wooing were still prevalent in the 1950s, we saw a significant easing of these customs in the 1960s, 1970s, and 1980s. Now let's take a step back and discuss marriage. Marriage has always been an alliance between families of various social classes, but in general, you stood within your class. If you were wealthy, you would marry wealthy people. Yes, if you were of lower social status, your chances of escaping were minimal. Since everyone in the class knew where everyone stood, you were trapped with them. As a result, in most of human history, planned marriages were the norm. In reality, there was no concept of a romantic relationship in marriage. The Art of Courtly Love, a book written in the 12th century, said that pure love had no place between a husband and wife. Having said that, some arranged weddings did, of course, involve love. And if you consider arranged marriages as a whole, happiness levels do rise over time because people approach it with the mindset that they must make it work because they are stuck together, as opposed to how many love marriages start out extremely happy, but then, it wears off after a couple of years and happiness levels go down and they are less content. Having said that, matchmakers have existed for as long as records can be found. Many people nowadays believe they would never use a service like that. The truth is, this used to be the standard. Additionally, those matchmakers weren't necessarily as skilled as professional matchmakers. Frequently, it was your mother, the family, sometimes a friend, or an advisor. In 1959, there was a single occasion that included roughly 100 people. Men are giving up on dating because women have bloated egos. Women are used to being able to post a profile and having 100 guys contact them within a day. Basically, try to get her attention while emphasizing that this isn't real because, according to the list, she is only rated 4 out of 10. As a result, she has no business receiving this much attention, which raises her expectations above what she believes she merits. Now, I've personally been out of the dating scene for a while, but according to all the research and people I've spoken to, being a guy makes it difficult to find a partner, especially if you're older. Another reason guys have given up on dating is that only the top 1% of guys seem to get all of the women online. Yes, it appears that 1% of internet women are swooning over that 1%. What's going on, and why? In some ways, that is still true today, even though it didn't seem to happen before. Let's discuss the benefits the internet has provided. It practically eliminated friction, so you don't have to go somewhere and meet up with a small group where you have to sort of make do with what is there. Most of us just go online, where there are countless options. You only need to flip your fingers to browse through the limitless options. Seriously. If you have a profile on any social media dating site as a man, you know how crazy it is out there. You literally have dudes pretending to be hot women just to mess around with people. You have women who lead you to subscribe to their OnlyFans accounts and then cut you off after you have. You only need to open your eyes and see things a little clearer, and you'll know exactly who began the dating crisis if we are playing this blaming game. So, yes, we are in a dating crisis. But no, it's not because of men. Thanks for watching Man Reacts. Show us your love and support by liking this video, sharing it with your friends, and subscribing to the channel. And let us know your thoughts on this in the comments. We're always up for a healthy debate and discussion.